There was a shop that stood at the end of a quiet little street. A street so quiet, even the wind whispered instead of howled. Nestled among old buildings that seemed to fall asleep early, as if time had made them drowsy. The name of the shop was Moonleaf Company. I found it by accident. It was a rainy evening. That kind of thin drizzle that makes your thoughts feel heavier than your clothes. I had just gotten off the train walking home, with my jacket doing a poor job at keeping me warm. I turned into a small alley, thinking I'd take shelter for a minute. And there it was. A wooden door with frosted glass, and a sign painted in fading cursive above. Moonleaf Company. There was a little bell hanging above the door. It didn't ring, but I knew. If I opened the door, it would make a soft sound. The kind that wakes up dreams, not people. So I did. Ding. The moment I stepped in, I was greeted by the smell of old wood and dust. Not unpleasant, but comforting. Like an old blanket you forgot you loved. Tall shelves full of books reached the ceiling, and the lighting was a warm yellow, like it came from a time long before LED. There was a clock ticking quietly somewhere in the back. Other than that, silence. And then I saw him. The owner of the shop. An old man sitting behind a desk tucked into a corner. His hair was silver white, his eyes soft, like a cat that's seen too many winters. He wore a knitted gray sweater that looked a size too big, like it had stories of its own. "Good evening," he said softly, as if he didn't want to wake the books. I nodded, unsure of what to say. He didn't ask why I came. He didn't ask what I was looking for. Because in Moonleaf Company, the books were not for sale. "You can borrow one," he said kindly, "if you need to." "If I need to?" I asked. He smiled faintly. "The book will know." I thought he was joking. But when I walked between the aisles, something changed. There was a quiet thump in my chest. A tug. I reached for a blue book with no clear title. And the moment I opened it, it spoke to me. Not with sound, but with the first line on the page. "Do you ever feel tired, even when you've done absolutely nothing?" I bit my lip. How did it know? How did it know what I was feeling that night? I read on. Every paragraph felt like it was written for me. Not to fix me. Not to give me advice. But to sit beside me. Quietly. When I finally closed the book, I realized time had slipped away. Outside, the rain had stopped. But I couldn't tell how long I'd been inside. I went back to the old man at the desk. "Can I borrow this one?" I asked. He nodded, eyes smiling gently. "You may. Just remember to return it, when you feel a little better." I came back a week later. It was late. Too late for most shops. But I couldn't sleep. My father had just had surgery, and even though they said it went well, my heart felt like it had been left out in the cold rain. I didn't plan to return to Moonleaf Company. But my feet found their way there. Like they remembered better than I did. The shop was still there. Still warm. Still smelling of dust and stories. Mr. Luno was there too. This time, in a cream sweater. He didn't say a word, just nodded at me. I wandered between the shelves again. And another book. This one with a dark green cover and a drawing of a tree. Called out to me. I opened it. And this was the first sentence. "Not all wounds need to heal right away. Some wounds just need company." I sat on the carpet near the shelf. And read. And cried. But it wasn't a heavy cry. It was a quiet one. Like my heart finally found a blanket. Years passed. Life moved on. I changed cities. Fell in love. Lost love. Got promoted. Got laid off. Laughed. Cried. Grew up. But I never forgot Moonleaf Company. One day, I returned to that little town. And I looked for that quiet street. I found it. But the shop was gone. In its place was a plain wall, freshly plastered. As if nothing had ever been there. I stood there for a long time. Wondering if the shop had been a dream. Or a story I made up in my loneliest nights. But then, in the corner of that wall, I saw something. a small, rusty bell, hanging alone. I smiled, and I knew Moonleaf and Company was still there. Not on a map, not in a building, but somewhere in the folds of time, in the hearts of those who once got lost in the night, and found the kind of book that didn't just tell a story, it listened to yours. Because some bookstores don't sell books, they lend you hope. Thank you for listening to tonight's tale. May you rest peacefully and dream beautifully. Until our next story, at Day Bielamine.